Listening experience. Voxwave.com.
Check out all your favorite shows at VoxWave.com. On Mondays, we keep it moving with The Kim Show from 11 to 1 p.m. Then it's time for a change with Sherry and Mignon, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then, in the end, we win with Curtis, 8:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. On Tuesdays, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Start your afternoon with The Wealth Zone with Raymond Starks. Then it's Cooking with Flavors with Chef Flavors, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And treat yourself right with My Spa Bath and Body, hosted by Margaret Harris, 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Up next is Slick Daddy Rick, Heartbeat Congo Hour, rocking from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then on Wednesdays, you can't miss Impact the World with Cheryl Woods, 12 noon to 2 p.m. And then from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., we got Slick Talk with Oscar D and It's the Kid. Then from 8 to 9 p.m., we crank it up with Live Set Wednesdays, hosted by Reg Gaskins. And after that, 9:15 to 10:15 p.m., the BGKH Show with Dominion and Epic. And check out our Thursday lineup, starting with You, Math, and Me, hosted by George Randall from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Then from 7 to 9 p.m., the 640 Evening Show with DJ 640. And on Fridays, we start out with Peace in the Morning Show with Darius A. Stan, co-host Delicate Daryl Barnes, and Queen of Sudabed, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. From 10:30 to 11:30, the Hall Street Journal with Robert Hall and co-host Clarence Sanders. And after that, you know we gotta check in with Chanel's 3 Cents, 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Up next, from 3 to 4:30 p.m., Daryl Allen Hairston II Crime Victims Foundation Show with your host, Daryl Hairston. Then, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is The Rush Hour with DJ Drew and Janique. And from 9:15 to 11:15 p.m., you can't miss Different Mind Show with Bam 640 and DJ Andre Michael, co-host Hillary Banks. Then, start out your Saturday mornings with the Healer Blues Show, hosted by Ron Jackson. After that, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m., the Hour of Power with Reverend Winters Rogers. Then, from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, it's time for Prayer, Praise, and Deliverance with Elder Thurman Gorman Jr. Four Sisters Live Talk, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Then every second Saturday, listen to Turning Dreams into Reality Talk Show with Taskeka L. Green, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. After that, from 3 to 4 p.m., we walk in newness 24/7 with Missionary Antoinette. And don't miss, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., News, ULM News and Analysis, Information, Sports, Black History, with your host, news anchor Roderick Carter Willis, 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Then, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., it's time for DJ Rick, the CEO of Step Your Game Up, the Youth Project, co-hosted by DJ Main and DJ Low Hefe. And then, at 7:45 to 8:45 p.m., it's time for the Fantastic Live Show with MC Fran. And starting out on Sundays, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I am Dr. Sharon Show with Dr. Sharon. And every first Sunday, from 3 to 4 p.m., it's the Riri Williams Show, Fashion and Style Hour. And every third Sunday, check out the Tea Talk Show with Dr. Akita Pearson, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Then it's time for Real Talk 101, 6 to 8 p.m. And from 8:15 to 9:15 p.m., we're tuned into the Gospel Live TV show with Glory Mello. Stay tuned to Vox Wave, where you can find all your favorite shows.
The world's #1 streaming music station, VoxWave.com.
can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. You gotta grow where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. Many are the plans of man, but only God's plan will prevail. Don't be weary in well-doing. All you have to do is keep going. Have faith and believe, and know one day you'll receive all the blessings that's for you. He is going to see you through. You gotta go where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. You gotta go where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. I am an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. I am an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. I am an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. I am an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. Gotta go where God leads. Where God leads. Gotta shine so people can see. They can see. Gotta go where you are. Where you are. And know that God will keep. He will keep. Gotta go where God leads. Where He leads. You gotta shine so people can see. They can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. You gotta go where God leads. Where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. They can see. You gotta grow where you are. Where you are. And know that God will keep. He will keep you. Go where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are. Where you are. And know that God will keep you.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining in to us today at www.voxwave, turning dreams into reality. We are excited to be here. It is raining outside, but guess what? The sun is shining in here, and we are ready to shed some light on your dreams today and help you to turn them into reality. Again, I am Taskeka Lanice Green. I am the founder and CEO of To Everything There's a Season, and I'm excited to be back. I'm here every second Saturday, 3 to 4 p.m., helping everyone that I can reach, meet, and teach to turn their dreams into reality. Today we have a special show. We have a Father's Day edition today. And today I have some exceptional men of valor who are husbands, fathers, leaders, brothers, servants. They are here to actually just help us today and talk about their journey that they took to turn their dreams into reality. And also, we're going to talk about a topic that is an epidemic in America today, and it's called fatherlessness. It's those children and people that are without fathers and didn't have those fathers or father figures to grow up. But we know that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and our testimonies. And so we have overcame, and we're here to help others on today. So I just want to just tune you in because I do want to share again how Turning Dreams to Reality came into fruition. And it started with the vision that God gave me. And it was basically out of the book around Joseph and how Joseph had dreams. And he had multiple dreams. He didn't just have one dream. He had multiple dreams. And although Joseph had all of these dreams, it put him in these different places where it looked like they weren't going to come to pass. But every time God put Joseph in a certain place, he gave him favor over a situation. He gave him favor over his circumstances. And his dreams did come to pass. It took a journey. It took a process. It took a series of events. But his dreams dreams came to pass. And not only did it come just for them to come to pass, it came to pass so that he could save lives. In the end, his dream was for him to save lives. It was not for him. It was not about him. It had nothing to do with him. God gave it to him so that he could impact and save others and bring them closer to him. So we are here today to help you to know that your dream is not for you. God gave it to you, but he wants you to use it so that it can make meaning and purpose in somebody else's life. You are somebody's answer. You are somebody's source. You are somebody's way. You are somebody's help. So you need to wake up every day and say, I am here, and God, whatever you have for me to do, I'm going to do it because I am somebody's answer in the earth. If it's just one person watching today, us being here today is just for that one person. So I'm just thankful for the opportunities and the platforms that God has given, not only me, but the people that are here with me today to reach out and to teach you and to help you to turn your dreams into reality. And so we are just going to take a quick break. But when we come back, I'm going to bring these great men of God, these great men of valor. I said they are men on a mission making a difference with me today. So just stay right there and keep it tuned in. And while you're waiting, call your friend, Facebook your friend, dial your friend, text her. You're not doing nothing anyway because it's raining outside. Let them know that we are here, turning dreams into reality on www.voxwave.com. We'll be right back.
You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. You gotta go where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. You gotta go where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are. Know that God will keep you.
All right, we are back, turning dreams into reality. We are here today, and today we have some real talk with some real answers with some great men of God and wisdom, and they're going to drop so many pieces of nuggets today. I hope you are ready because they are going to help you. You will not be the same when you finish after this show today, and I can't wait to hear the testimonies from today's show. So I just want to just introduce them to you all, and then I want them to tell us a little bit about themselves, and we're going to get right into our show. So first, we have What's Up World himself, Rashawn Botam Mills. Did I say it good? What's up, world?
Yeah, what's up,
good?
world?
Yes,
yes. You got it.
Rashad Bowtie Mills himself. And I have next to me here, I'm telling you, you're in for a treat today. He does spoken word. His name is Jaron Penn. Welcome, Jaron. And then we have the wonderful, this man right here. He can talk about everything from marriage to being a father, to being a leader, to, I was even reading your bio of growing up without a child and some of the father and some of the things you've been through. His testimony is phenomenal. We have him, Mr. Mark McPhee, today with us. So thank you for joining us. And we have one more guest, and he's going to be joining us soon, Pastor Sherman Nelson. And we'll take a break and we'll bring him back on. But while I have these great men, why don't you just brief us and tell the world who you are? Let's start with you, Rashad.
Well, my name is Rashad Bowtie Mills. Bowtie is officially my middle name.
Yes.
I'm working on getting that official. I am a motivational speaker, father of twin girls. More importantly, I'm a man of God. God has blessed me with so many opportunities to get back to this place. I'm approaching 3 years of sobriety, so that's how the name Happy Hour started. Because back then I didn't know what happy hour was. And then I found God and took that spiritual walk again. So now I know what that true happy hour is. So I'm just elated for this opportunity. Yes. And as you mentioned prior to coming on to the segment, you mentioned Joseph and his dream and how his dream is not even for him. So literally I wake up every day and I understand what I do is not for me. It's for the next young man that's going through some things. And hopefully the Lord can put something in me when he can say, if Rashad can make it, I can make it. So that's my ultimate goal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Rashad Mills. Jaron, why don't you tell us about you?
Absolutely. So my name is Jaron Penn. I go by stage name of Halo as well. I'm a gospel hip-hop spoken word artist as well as a licensed financial coach and a graphic designer. My purpose has always been to help people have hope, to help people live the life they want to live, and to help people reach their fullest potential. And I believe that God's given me the gifts and the tools to do that. So just like my man Rashad, Mr. Bowtie said, sometimes dreams are not for you. And that's something that I think is very important. And I'm just thrilled with the opportunity to be here to talk about turning dreams to reality.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I met Jaron a month ago or so. Another event. And I was just so blessed with what you had. I just want you to share that with everyone. So thank you for coming today. And Mr. Mark McPhee, tell us about Mark McPhee.
Hi, my name is Mark McPhee, and I've been married 20 years, actually. I've been on my job 29 years. I'm an entrepreneur, a father, a grandfather. I have brothers, siblings, and I'm just trying to make a difference in the community to empower men to be the best that they can be.
Exactly, empower men, and that's awesome, because that's why we're here today. So, we're going to celebrate Father's Day next week on the 17th. And it's a day where we honor and we salute our fathers. And, some of us, we have the biological fathers, but some of us grew up with father figures in our lives. And some of us grew without fathers. And so, again, as I stated earlier, that's a topic that I really wanted to address about, not having the father and fatherlessness, because it is an epidemic and it's impacting our children. And I just want to read a little bit of statistics that I found out when I was looking into this topic. And this is according to the U.S. Bureau Census, that more than 20 million children live in a home without the physical presence of a father. Millions more have dads who are physically present but emotionally absent. An estimated 24.7 million, which is 1 out of 3 children, live absent of their biological father in their home. Of students in grades 1 through 12, 39% live in homes absent of their fathers. Then I went into the actual demographics, and it was 57.6%, almost 60% black children live without their father, 31.2% Hispanic children, and 20.7% of white children. According to 72.2% of the U.S. population, fatherless is the most significant family and social problem facing America. 70%. Yes. And so I always like to correlate because, first comes natural, then comes spiritual. And in 1 Timothy 5:8, it says, anyone who does not provide for their relatives, especially their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. And then in another version, King James, it says worse than an infidel. And so with that being said, when you think about where you are and how you got here today, I want you to share, anybody could just share, who was that person in your life that had that positive influence on your life that helped you to become the man that you are today? Anybody can take that question.
I'm going to start off first. It would be my grandfather. And my grandfather was an exceptional role model for me, and he was exceptional in this sense. Oftentimes we think of role models and we think of how great they are. I saw him as a flawed individual.
Yeah.
I saw that he drank too much. I saw that he had some other women outside of my grandfather. But I saw that he was such a hard-working man, and his spirit was right for people. Neighborhood people would walk through, and he would instantly give them money and care for them and give them vegetables and things of that nature. And so oftentimes when I think of role models, I think far too many times in our community we're looking for this great father figure. But for me, I loved him because he was flawed. And as I grew older, I said, I'm flawed just like him. So oftentimes I tell my kids, I said, and they're 9, I said, I hope when you guys grow up, you'll know that I loved you the best that I could, but I'm a flawed individual.
Yeah.
And another thing that I love my grandfather for, he was a man of great principle.
Yes.
My biological father, I'm 40 years old, my biological father has been incarcerated off and on for 30 years.
Okay.
And I said, why did you never go see him? He said, I told him if he ever got into the streets that I would never do it because I'm a man of principle. And that was so strong to me. That he was just a great man of principle. He was just a great man, just a great man,
Exactly.
great role model.
And I can see through your work and through your speaking that those principles that you learned from him, that you're passing it on to the generation now. So thank you for sharing it. Your grandfather. Who was it for you, Jared?
Well, for me, it was actually both my parents at different times. I'm probably the prototypical kid that butted heads with his dad, like in those teenage years, which is so funny now because as hard as we butted heads, and I had a friend of his that helped kind of get me through those times. He said, "Boy, I didn't know you was gonna make it to the 18. I promise you." But it's funny now because now I'm 30. I have 3 children of my own, 4, 2, and 1, and I look back to all the things that my father did for me, and knowing some of the things now I didn't know then, knowing how he had to work, 2 jobs initially and to make ends meet, knowing how he put himself through school, how hard he worked to own his own business, plus work a 9 to 5 in the government, not just to make sure that ends meet, but that we prospered, that we never had a want for anything.
Yeah.
And to know that he did this, and he didn't have his father in his life, and to understand the example that he set for me, now it's funny because it's kind of how God works. What was a source of struggle for me is now a source of pride, because I can look back at my dad and really be thankful for what he did for me now that I understand as being a parent myself.
Yes.
And I'm thankful for my mom to make sure I got to this point, because I'm telling you, I was that knucklehead, stubborn, only child, had it my way, can solve any problem. I got this kid, and I don't know how I made it. All by God and the people he had around. So.
Exactly. The grace of God and the people that he placed in your life to make sure that you become what you was called to become.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Mark, you wanted to answer that for us. Who was that positive influence or father figure in your life?
That would be my Uncle Benny, who lives here in Baltimore, Maryland, because I, like you, as a teenager, was button head with my dad and didn't want to listen to anything going on in the home. And so he's like, well, you got to go. He put me out. And my uncle tucked me in and nurtured me. He taught me values, work ethic, the importance of, going to work and maintaining a job and taking care of a family. And he stayed married to my Aunt Laura for like 60 years, and having a family. So he was a male role model that modeled the family to me, what a family looked like.
Exactly. And it's funny you said that role model, what a family looked like. When I was reflecting on this myself, I grew up in a single family home. My mom was single, but my dad was always there. And so when I had to actually go back and look at the word single, is it really that you're single? Because if somebody's there to help you, you're not really single. Right. And so my dad was there, but they weren't married. He was there. But when I look back at it, I think about my grandfather, too. And I thought about my grandfather, who's 82 years old today, that he never saw his family without. He was an entrepreneur at the age of 14. Wow. He went out on the water. He was one of the original black watermen of the Chesapeake Bay, went out on the water and with his father, and he taught him the trick, and that's what he did. And he took care of his family. I don't even think I ever saw my grandmother work, hard, really work hard. Wow. But he took care of his family. He made sure, and I hear this all the time, like if we were broke, we would never even knew it. Because he made sure that we had food on the table, had land, leaving stuff for for, his grandchildren, things like that. And so I really look at that because we're going to talk a little bit about how a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children and the things that we want to leave for our children and our children's children. So with that being said, we have a lot of misconceptions about men because, as I say, my father was there, but my mother was never married to him. He was still there, and also, we think about, I also raised a boy child, a man child, and he's 20 years old now. I had him when I was in college. And his father was absent for his life for a long time. But I knew that his intentions were good, but he just didn't know how. And so he finally came around in my son's life about high school, when he was in high school. And he started to come back into my son's life. And then, they spent time together. And now he knows him, spends time with him. But it was a long period before that. And so my next question that I have for you is, there's so many misconceptions about men and fathers. And I want you to share, what do you think some of those common misconceptions are? And how do we combat those misconceptions?
I would say one of the biggest misconceptions is that men don't embrace that role of fatherhood.
Yes.
June the 2nd, 2009 at 4:40 and 4:41 was the greatest moments of my life, other than finding God, because that's the moment I officially became a father. And I embraced that role, and I think society from afar thinks that men of color, we don't embrace that role. In my circle, I have tons and tons of great fathers that embrace the role of going to PTA and being a soccer dad. And I tell you, one of my highlights in life is I want to be like a minivan black dad. I want to be like the dad that rolls up with the minivan and I got the Starbucks and I'm jumping out with the shirt that says, "My kids love soccer." Like, I want to be that kid because I
you want the 4 little people on the back.
Right. My kids are honor students and like the middle school stickers. Like, I want to be that corny black dad because I never had that. I do. Literally, I want to be that guy because I never had that. So I embrace the role so much, and I think, again, society, they don't see that, especially of men of color. And I think one of the ways that we can combat that is we have to be proactive, like letting people know that we are fathers and we are proud fathers, and we're just not the weekend dads. We're the, if you get sick, I'm with you, Dad. If you have diarrhea, I'm there with you, Dad, and the diapers, and that whole role that goes along with fatherhood. So I think we just have to be more proactive. And I can say, I think within the last maybe 2 to 5 years, I have seen more like groups on Facebook and other forms of social media strictly dedicated to fathers and men of color and just embracing that role and loving that role as a father. So that's my take.
Exactly. Anybody else? How can we communicate this more effectively around those, come against those misconceptions around men, and in particular, our black men, our African American men?
Well, first of all, minivans aren't corny. Let's get that on. I got 2 of them, bro. I got 3 little ones. I got 2 minivans. His and hers. That's how we do it. Hey, that's how we got to make it happen. You got to get the kids around, man. I got you. I think one of the misconceptions, especially when it comes to black fatherhood, and I think you touched on it before, is that a great black father is one that is without flaws. And I think that's a huge misconception because from my standpoint, there's a lot about fatherhood that I'm still learning. There's a lot about being a dad when it comes to having 3 little ones, also an entrepreneur, also making sure that I don't forget about my wife being a loving husband as well as a loving father, that we're still figuring out, that we're still learning. I think it's a misconception that a father, as the baby's born, the father just, switches off the shirt, puts on an S on his chest, and he's just ready. He's just there. It's a learning process, just like anything else. I mean, if you think about just a job, for instance, when you come on the first, when you're on your first day on the job versus when you're 5 years in, when do you know more? I mean, when you come in your first day on the job, you're a rookie. You're still learning the process. 5 years in, you're much more prepared. It's the same thing with fatherhood. I think it's a misconception that you step in and you're automatically supposed to have everything together. I'm changing all the diapers. I know how to get the bottles ready. Okay, this is when I take the baby to the doctor. I can move this, that, and the third and get it all together. It's work. It's hard work. And I think, especially for couples who are together or married, I think it's a partnership. That's one of the things. Yeah, that's good. And of course, I got to shout my wife because she is the most amazing partner.
Shout out to your wife. Tell us her name.
Morgan.
Hey, Morgan.
Is my world right now. I'm telling you, I think it's incredible to have a partner to be able to go through this journey with.
Yes.
And just for fellas, don't feel like you have to have it all together at once. Be there. Be consistent. Put your best foot forward every day, and I promise you, you'll figure this thing out.
Yes, thank you. Anything you want to share around that, Mark?
Yes, as I was listening, I was just thinking, I remember back when our boys now, they're like 18 and 15.
Yes.
And my wife used to always brag that I had the boys with me all the time. And I worked nights and she worked days. And so we split the time, the partnership, and changing diapers, fixing meals, washing clothes, all that goes along with that territory, family.
Exactly.
You know, and men being willing to take on that responsibility and know that it's not gender specific.
Exactly. And
You know,
I think about my daughter. My daughter, actually, she's 8. I have a daughter that's 8, so 28 and 5. And so my daughter said, what was my first words? And I'd say, Dada.
Yeah.
And I didn't say that jokingly because my experience, if you a little bit about my testimony, is that my mom passed away in March of 2010. My daughter was born in June of 2010.
Yeah.
So I had went through a serious postpartum depression, a lot of anxiety. I was going back and forth to the hospital all the time because I just thought something was wrong with me. And so my husband really took on the responsibility of taking care of my daughter those first couple of months and getting up with her and everything because I was just at a weak state. And I think that's what you said, is that you're a partner in this.
Yeah.
You know, we're in this together, you know. And so, you know, just to go about that and just to see how we need to be fathers both physically and both emotionally in our children's lives is so important. So I'm telling y'all, do y'all hear this? Okay, I mean, we need to take a break because we have another guest here with us who's waiting. And plus, when we come back, Jaron is going to do some spoken word for us. So stay tuned. Tell everybody, tune in. You have 35 more minutes. www.voxwave.com. Turning dreams into reality. We'll be right back.
I'm more than a conqueror. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. I am an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. I am an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. I am an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. Gotta go where God leads. Where God leads. Gotta shine so people can see. They can see. Gotta go where you are. Where you are. Know that God will keep. He will keep. Gotta go where God leads. Where He leads. Gotta shine so people can see. They can see. Gotta go where you are. And know that God will keep you. Gotta go where God leads. Where God leads. Gotta shine so people can see. They can see. Gotta go where you are. Where you are. And know that God will keep. He will keep you. Go where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta go where you are. Where you are. Know that God will keep you. You gotta go where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. You gotta grow where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are and know that God will keep you. You gotta grow where God leads. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are.
This piece is called Hope for Sale. I had a daydream at work. I think it was worth it. With so much going on with this earth, the weight of the world in all its girth, despair closing in like a shirt, I think this mental swerve was perfect. See, I was giving words out on a nearby corner, pouring out everything inside of me just like a donor, trying to verbally paint a Sistine, Picasso, or at least the Mona. See, I just wanted to give hope. And it's my daydream, so best believe it was dope. And I had like a generation stopping by my post for the quotes, giving God the will, God's will as I spoke, and I saw spirits receiving it. I admit it was brief, but it seemed to hit for the grieving kids and those needing it, so I breathed it in. And I shouted, "You gonna get this hope." That's when a brother from the front spoke. It looked like we had the same mother, though. Like, if I had siblings, he legit would have had my brother's nose, but his eyes told me he was no kin of mine. He threw Skittles and a toy gun at my feet. An aspirator spray painted "I can't breathe," a football, bank statements, and some unwashed sheets, and a pocket atlas that cracked as soon as it hit the street. He said, "You gonna get this hope?" How? Because I didn't hear anything about hope when I was trying to find out how I got this broke. You see what's going on out here? I am drowning in the pain they say I'm supposed to be okay with. And I'm supposed to trust my president to change it, but I'm not rich and I can't change skin. So since hope comes with a passport I don't qualify for, or a cost I can't afford, how can I claim it? You tell me why I should have hope. As he spoke, I saw an anger in him that I had in myself. A pain that went unfelt, the need to understand that someone will both understand and actually help. And it was then that I noticed his shirt. A bloody hole where his heart was with a growing stain. Emotions on the sleeve next to the pain. Words on the front in the frame saying, "Don't you tell me how to grieve." But the look in his eyes said, "I need help." So I hugged him. I told him I didn't know him, but I genuinely loved him. And I'm not always healthy enough mentally to listen to your soul, but my soul's been getting fed lately, so lean on me. I told him your voice is as loud as mine is. Your story, timeless. Your destiny, only as free as your mind is. So you are not your circumstances. You're the moment when you're all that's left standing. You're the camera taking pictures of what your life could be. So what do you choose to see? There's a lot of hurt there, so much grief and pain. I see it. But notice, because in my closet hang shirts with a similar stain, and mine will never look just like yours, but know that in order to change, you gotta heal first. Otherwise, you'll just put on a new day and the pain will remain. Let me talk to you. See, you need to know that there's no other you out there. And I've read books by people who've been inches from death and sustained, reinvented their lives and changed, but you gotta monitor what you keep on your brain. See, your mind is your battlefield. He wept as we embraced. One man trying to keep it together, the other just trying to find a reason to try. One man willing to die to impart hope, one other just living to die, and I never saw the end of that daydream. And I know it may seem like all we as a people do is break things, but look closer. We're life's composers, directing a symphony of events as we turn our stories into stanzas while we play to the tones of our tears. Man, we're builders. Hammering out history into the very fabric of time itself. And you think you have no say in that? You think that your voice doesn't have power? Man, take a step back and see what it's doing to your life right now. That same voice instilling a doubt, slowly destroying your light, is the same voice that could change tunes and save your life. Ask Weldon Long. See, living life with no hope, it's like being a lost sailor on a rough sea on his last meal. Having hope, it's like learning how to fish and fighting to survive. No hope is giving up on a job interview process when the last 3 didn't go so well. See, having hope is hopping onto YouTube and learning a new skill set on your own. You gotta be the change you want to see. Become today the person you want to be tomorrow. And if it ever feels overwhelming, understand you are not alone. Because my God, man, he genuinely loves you. And my heart goes out to you. And I pray that this message lyrically tugs you if I can't physically hug you. But no, you can make it through this. You will make it through this. And I promise you, you're going to get this hope. Thank you.
are back. Let me tell you, was that dope or what?
That was
Let's give it up. Let me tell you, Jared Penn, thank you so much for dropping that on us today. And I know somebody was moved by that and are ready to execute in their hope. And so I'm thank you. And we are back, and I'm so glad that I have with me another guest. I'm going to introduce him. He's going to tell us about himself, and this is Pastor Sherman Nelson Jr. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Tell our listeners about yourself.
I'm the husband of one wife.
Yes.
The father of one daughter. And I love the Lord vigorously. And I love my people a little less than I love him. And so the expression of my life is evident in what I do for the people around me. If beyond that, if my fruit doesn't show you who I am, then I need to go sit down somewhere.
That's good.
That's kind of me. That's kind of me.
Thank you. Listen, I have to just put this plug in of how I met these great men. So I told you how I met Jared at another event, but I actually met Rashad, Sherman, and Mark through the great Lisa M. Jones.
Lisa Jones.
Who's out in Chi-Town today. Hey, Lisa.
Tell my mama I said hi.
Yes. And we are her Extreme Makeover leaders, and we
Yes.
have a conference coming up on October 20th.
Yes.
From 9 to 4 at the Hotel Arundel Preserve. Please register because we will sell out, and we are going to reach the marriages, couples, individuals, singles, the men, women, children, ages 12 and up. Please join us. So that's how we met, and we're on this platform together to make a difference in the lives of others.
Yes.
And each one of them, they're an entrepreneur and a businessman in their own right.
Yes.
Everybody up here. And so I do want to read this scripture from Proverbs 22:29. And it says, observe people who are good at their work, skilled workers, are always in demand and admired. They don't take back seat to anyone. And so these people here are skilled. They are workers. They are businessmen. God gives them witty ideas. He gives them innovative ideas, and he gets them started to go out to see what can I do. Again, going back to help somebody else. So with that being said, I want you to think about this question, and I have different questions. Sherman, we're going to let you take this first one.
Okay.
Because the guys was holding it down in the beginning.
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
I want you to think about what sacrifices did you have to make to get to where you are today?
How much time do we have?
Well, our show is at 4.
The thing that I think the biggest sacrifice I had to make was I had to stop loving me more than I loved everybody else. Now, I know we're supposed to love each other. The problem is if my fixation is always me, then there can't ever be an outward expression of it. So I couldn't love my wife the way I needed to because I loved me first. I couldn't love my daughter the way I needed to because I loved me first. I couldn't even love my parents, my friends. I couldn't love y'all the way that I need to if I love me first. So the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
As you love yourself.
Not after you love yourself. And so I love myself enough. I appreciate who God made me, but I had to give me up and allow God to live through me. And then when I gave me up, he gave me back. And that's the thing that blows my mind. I feel like Abraham when I went to lay my son on the altar and my hand was poised and he said, stop. Yes. I just need to know, would you give you up? Since you'll give you up, I'll give you back and I'll give you new facets of you. And so I live a life now that is richer than I could ever have imagined. And I never would have gotten this if I had just let me love me. I had to let him love me. And now I'm free to be all I can be to y'all, to my daughter, to my wife, to my family. And so that's the sacrifice. It took me, I'm 52, it took me 50 years to really nail this down. That Christ said you have to die daily. And that was always rhetoric. And now it's reality. And so now I live the dream. People say, you should want to be me. You should want to go on a tour so that you could pay money to be me. I don't have no money. I don't have all this other stuff, man, but I got peace.
Exactly.
And it passes all understanding. I see if somebody had a Hammond right there, it could have keyed us. And so that's my biggest sacrifice. I had to let me go.
Let me go.
Let me go so I could get me back. Right.
Do we have the collection?
Yes, we need it. We need it today.
I'm going to give you 11%.
You think I'm going to sit?
I'm gonna to go one step, not 10.
You think I'm
11.
You think I can sit back and listen to y'all and not be out there, the wheels turning?
Right.
Y'all in here killing?
You just came right in the fire, right?
That may be a spoken word piece.
Listen, you hear that? We're turning dreams into reality. Anybody else want to take that question about some of the sacrifices?
I guess I would, to add to that, well, not to add to it, but in my own experience was having to be broken.
Yeah.
To be remade. Because I learned something that you cannot graft a new idea on a closed mind.
Yes.
So God broke me.
Yep.
Like the word says, we've all gone astray, or been like wild horses and gone astray. And that would have been my testimony. And through God breaking me, leading me into a greener pasture.
And with that being said, Rashad, I want you to take this one. Do you remember any type of experience or situation in your life that you would have done differently? And if so, why or why not? And what would you have changed?
Wow. I don't think I would do anything differently in my life, because even when I look back and all of the things that I said they were the worst times, the worst moments, the worst decisions of my life, they turned out to be some of the best decisions in my life. Oftentimes right now, and it's funny that you were talking about dying daily and being broken. Oftentimes right now, when I look back and think about the potential for regret, I think that I'm the first man ever to be pregnant.
Okay.
And I think I'm the first man, literally. And Sherman is
Tell us
giving
about this.
See what I mean?
Let me turn my chair.
Sherman is giving me this like pregnant. Literally.
Let's talk about that.
This is like a preview for my sermon next week.
Yes.
That's it.
I think I was the first man to be pregnant in this regard. Because some of the bad decisions I made, I was trying to birth a lot. There was a baby growing, and I was feeding the baby, and I was going to my primary care doctor, and he's works 24/7, 365, if you know who my doctor is. And I would pray about certain things that I regretted, and I was trying to birth these negative things. Like I was trying to birth being the best alcoholic that Baltimore has ever seen, and I had this career as a drinker and all these negative things and some awful toxic relationships. I was a nasty individual. And when I look back and I said, God, why did you allow some of those things to almost birth? And God said, just before those things were about to birth, I had to stop it. I had to abort that pregnancy.
Right.
Not to sound too harsh. And then as a result of that, I would always feel something on this side of me. Something else was growing. There was a new baby. Happy hour. Right? So this alcoholic turned into happy hour.
Right.
These negative things like growing up without a father. In turn, that turned into two babies growing for me, and to be able to be there for my kids. So everything that was like negative that I thought was growing, and it was like a regret, and why did this happen, God? And I wish I could have did it differently. God said, no, I needed to allow you that thing to grow just enough. And then just when it was about to be birthed, I needed to stop it because I had something better over here.
Exactly.
And then there was a better baby over here.
Exactly.
So it's just like everything in my life, I never look at it as a regret. I just look at it was a baby that was almost born, had to stop, and then God gave me something better over here.
Exactly.
So,
And I heard that too. I heard process, and I heard life experiences. I heard lessons. And I always say that if you have gone through something, teach somebody else the principles so they don't have to go back and repeat the things that you made. So with that being said, Jared, what are some of the principles that you learned in life and your experiences that you want to share with people and teach them today?
I think one of the biggest principles that I've learned, especially in the last couple of years, I mean, you all alluded to the fabulous Coach Lisa M. Jones, and I know she's a personal coach of mine, and over the last 2 years, I've definitely seen major growth in all aspects of my life thanks to her coaching, her tutelage. One of the things that she always says that I try to get across to everyone I can is you got to give God something to bless. You gotta, because God will take our natural and make it supernatural. He'll take our ordinary and make it extraordinary. But if we don't give Him something to bless, then we don't give Him the opportunity to show exactly how God He is. A lot of us, because we're all flawed, we all deal with our flaws, and I think when it comes to our flaws, they can easily lead to the doubt, the fear, the feeling inadequate that comes with it, especially when you have a purpose, a gift on your life, and you're meant to share it with people. The first thing you start to see, the first things you hear are the reasons why you shouldn't. But one of the things Coach always says is, we always look at why we can, why what if it works? What if this thing that we were meant to do, that God has given us the provision for, that He's put in front of us, What if he has put this path in front of us? What if he does, like he says, already has everything worked out? What if he is not a man that he shouldn't lie? What if he is a promise keeper? What if he is the one that says he's not going to give you more than you can handle? What if he is? Right?
Right.
And one of the things that I have to continually remind myself, because I'm not perfect. Every day is different. But one of the things I have to remind myself is that broken crayons still color.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, we feel broken, but we still color. We still have gifts. We're still here. We're still here with a purpose. We're here for a reason. And it's not giving up on that purpose, not giving up on that. Because I do believe that all it takes really to turn dreams to reality is belief, trusting in God, and time. You got to give yourself time to make this thing work.
Exactly.
It's not an overnight process.
Exactly. And I heard you say, give God something to work with.
Yeah.
And when you said that, the first thing I thought of was faith. Because the Bible says faith without works is dead.
Right.
Apply your faith and let that please God. It pleases God.
Right.
And so with that being said, I look at faith as a resource. That's the resource that I need to turn my dream into reality. Yes. So what other resources besides faith do you think the listeners you can help them with today that they need to help them to turn their dreams into reality? And anybody can take that. A mentor.
A mentor.
Talk to us about that.
A mentor. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, y'all gonna hear a lot of Lisa isms.
We've heard them.
Yeah, we heard them.
So one of the things Coach says is that there's no that a lot of people say is there's no shortcut to success, and that's not true. The shortcut to success is having a mentor,
right?
Because a mentor can tell you all the things that they've been through, all the things that did not work, and put you on the right path. Then all you got to do is follow suit. All you got to do is listen. That mentorship not only gives you that teaching, so you become literate and capable and more confident in what you're doing, but it gives you accountability. Because everyone knows that they have that day, they don't feel like doing the things they know they should be doing to succeed.
Exactly.
And if we're really honest with ourselves, us not succeeding in whatever our goal is isn't a knowledge problem. Isn't that we don't necessarily know what to do, if we're honest. It's that we're not applying the amount of work ethic, we're not applying the amount of consistency that it takes to really get to where we need to go. And that's not a journey that you can really take on your own and expect to make it there, because there are going to be days where you don't feel like doing what's needed to get to that dream. And that's where that accountability part comes into.
Exactly. Accountability, and I hear time. Time. It's time management versus task management. How are you utilizing the tasks that were given to you within the time that you had? Even most recently, my husband said, where'd you find the time to do that? I said, it's not time, it's task. You have to really look at how are you maximizing your time? How are you using your time to accomplish those things and work hard to turn your dreams into reality? Anybody else want to share?
I think you have to have community.
Yes.
You have to have like-minded people.
Yes.
You know, single people can't talk to me about being married.
Right.
I need to find other married people to talk to about being married. Women can't tell us what it's like to be a man.
Exactly.
You haven't walked this walk. I have to find some other guys who are walking the walk that I'm walking, at least the direction I'm going. Our paces might be different. So sometimes I might have to wait on you. Sometimes I might have to come back, pick Mark up, put him on my back, and carry him for a little while. But I've got to find a Mark, and I've got to find a Rashad, and I've got to find people who are headed where I'm headed so that we can grow together. Because if the Bible says if you're by yourself and you fall in the ditch, who's going to help you out? You can't get yourself out.
Right.
But if you are, how you keep yourself warm, you got to have somebody with you who is on this road with you. Not just a spouse, but you got to have somebody in different areas. I have created this network of dudes that we get together just to get together. Married guys, single guys, but we all are sharing those experiences. We are talking to our younger guys about, listen, man, this is some stuff you're going to go through at 30 that I thought I knew. Let me just clue you in. Because I want to help you hop over what I fell in. There's some pits I fell in.
Exactly.
I need you to hurdle that joint. But if you got to fall in every hole I fell in, then I'm failing as a mentor. Then there was no point to my experience. God said, but I took you through it so that you could lead them over it or around it. And that doesn't happen until you have a community of people who accept you for you. Where the show is over. There is no, I lived a life that was pretend. And I would go home and people didn't know the sadness and the loneliness and the heartbreak But then next morning you put the mask back on and then
and
I make everybody think everything is all right. Some days they need to know, man, today's just one of them days.
Exactly.
And I don't feel like doing what I'm supposed to do. Matter of fact, man, forget that. Man, I'm not calling her. I'm not telling my wife where I'm going. I'm just, come on, bro, let's go hang out. Matter of fact, I'm going to text her while we're hanging out to let her know that you're safe. But come on, let's talk about why that's not the right thing to do. And let's do it over some chicken at Buffalo Wild Wings. And keep it real, you know. So I think having a community. Having a mentor is essential. But then after a person to lead me, I need to have other persons being led with me. You know. So that's been critical for me.
Exactly.
Can I just jump in that?
Sure,
Sherman
please.
question?
Go ahead.
Are those wings at Buffalo Wild Wings? Are they on your tab?
Absolutely.
I can't with him.
Absolutely.
I just wanted clarification.
I got you.
That's the kind of mentors I like.
I got you.
Listen.
And you can get something to drink.
All right.
Yeah.
Wings on Sherman.
Wings on Sherman.
Sounds like you just got another lunch appointment.
One thing that I have been really adamant about is helping people also to leave a legacy. We talked about this earlier, Proverbs 13:22, that a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children, and wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. And so, with that being said, you know, I have been encouraging and helping people about, you know, how do you want to be left? How when people see that dash they talk about, what does that mean? What is your life going to say for you that you're going to leave and speak for somebody else? And so, you know, my whole work, and again, we're back to my testimony, all started with my mom, who passed away in 2010, 53, stage 4 stomach cancer. 30 days later, had never been sick. And so, you know, and that mantle that she passed on to me, I just started to run with it. And on an urgency, trying to push people to their purpose and try to have them gravitate towards greatness. And so, with that being said, what wisdom would you give fathers, husbands, and men in general that want to leave a legacy?
I would start off by saying I know a lot of men, we judge our worth based on the financial part. When you hear legacy, you always think financial. Certainly that's a big, important aspect of it. But I think is the impact. My legacy now is how many people that I'm able to help. And how my twins, Kennedy and Chloe, how they can see me interact with other people. They see me at my worst. So part of my legacy with them is I can die a rich man if they see me at my best, how I interact with people, how I help people. So when I go out and speak and I see two little girls in the back, that's a part of my legacy. When I'm getting dressed in the morning, I can hear them screaming, "What's up, world?" And they're talking to their friends on the phone. And, you know, my daddy gave this speech about empowering. One of their friends said, "What does empower mean?" And they talking about that to 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds on the phone. That's a part of my legacy. So I think for me is understanding that legacy isn't just financial. That's huge.
That's right.
But understand my legacy is the impact that I have on others and as well as my kids.
Exactly.
So one of the people that I like to turn to for motivation is Dr. Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher. He's a beautiful dude, powerful brother. And he has a video, he talks about how he it's called Made My Mark. And he talks about how his legacy is built around the people he's touched, the people he's talked to, the people who have been changed, and that no matter what happens to him, you can't say that he wasn't here.
Right.
And so when I think about leaving a legacy that not financial, because we definitely going to talk about financial pieces. That's the other side of it. I want to leave a legacy that people know I was here. I want to leave a mark. I want to leave something that's going to bypass my years. And it's funny you talk about the dash, because I've actually been working on a piece called Daybreak, because also do graphic design, which means I do a lot of funeral programs, which leads me to think about, you know, life and death quite a bit. But I think it's important that we understand that it is a dash, and whoever heard of a dash if you're not running forward? So if you're just living your life and you're standing still, then you just have a space between two dates. If you want to dash, you got to move forward. You got to make a move. So from a legacy standpoint, leave your mark. I want to leave a mark. I want people to know that Jaron Penn was here, and that they're better for it. On a financial sense, I think it's always important for people to understand that there are really two ways to leave a financial legacy at this point. Either with life insurance or by accumulating enough wealth so that your children, their children's children are taken care of. With, unfortunately, a lot of people, especially in our community, it's going to take life insurance to leave that generational wealth. And we're way behind when it comes to that. A lot of it is lack of financial literacy. A lot of it is just not taking the time to learn what's out there. And unfortunately, some of the truth is mindset, not thinking that we need it. We're good. 25, we're 30. We got plenty of life in front of us. But here's the thing. One thing that we cannot change is that we're all going to pass away at some point. We just don't know when God has called us. So if we don't take the steps to make sure that our family, especially because we talk about fatherhood, if we don't take the steps to make sure our children are taken care of, if we're married, our family is taken care of, when we pass away, then we're doing them a disservice, because our legacy is great. It's fantastic to people to know that Jaron Penn left his mark, but if Morgan Avery Davis Penn and Roman Penn and Austin Penn and Layla Penn now can't stay in the home because I didn't leave anything behind for them, then my legacy, it doesn't mean anything for me, because the ministry that was given just to me, which is my family, the closest member I have failed them. And that is something I do not want to do. I don't want any of us to do, is to fail our family because we didn't take the time out to make sure that our financial legacy is left, especially when it's an easy thing to feel.
Yes. Anybody else want to tackle that one? Because something you said a whole lot, and I was just pulling out, and I thought about when you said it. Do you want to be important or do you want to be impactful? And that's a good question that we need to start asking ourselves. Because important people, they're gonna forget you, but impactful people, you're gonna leave your mark. You're gonna fit. And you also said something very important that really took heart to me. Is but I fail if I can reach 100,000 people across the world in the nation, but I can't help my home, something's wrong with that. And so I thought about that, and then I started to pray to God about that. And so, I was talking, actually last show that we were here, I brought my husband on, and I started with that a man with dreams need a woman with vision. And so I was just couldn't help my husband. Like every time I asked him, well, what's your purpose? What do you want to do? He honestly said, I don't know. And I'm like, how is that so? I'm always talking about purpose and pushing people, but I can't help my home. Something's wrong. I'm not being successful. And so God started to speak to me and everything and actually revealed to me what he needed me to do. And so last month, I felt like last week, we're going to get week to week, right? Last month, I actually blessed my husband with his business called Signature. Okay. Because what had happened was my husband and I had this intimate conversation around his name and who he was. And he thought that his name ended the conversation rather than started it because of his past. And so when we started to talk about that your past only produces your future and don't let your past predicate your future, things started to change. And you said something. It's a mindset. Yeah, it's how we think. As a man thinketh, so is he. Yeah. Right. And so it's how we think and how we believe. And so we're going to end our show in a few, and we have another dream that we want to share about turning into reality. I'm going to put a plug in it right there so those listeners that were here last month can understand what we're talking about, but I wanted to bring you some context to where we are. But we're going to take a quick break, and we're actually going to bring my husband back again this week. He doesn't talk much, but we're going to bring him back because in just 30 days, God turned another dream into reality, and we want to share it with everyone. So stay right there. Vox Wave will be right back.
And know that God will you gotta go where God is. You gotta shine so people can see. You gotta grow where you are. And know that God will keep you.
So we are back, and like I said, I have with me today my husband, William Green, the owner of Signature by William LLC. Give it up. Yeah. And let me tell you something. You really inspired us, because my husband always wanted a bow tie line. He really did. And I kept hearing it, and I was like, you know what? And then when you had a nice yellow one that I purchased and brought home to it, and I said, see how Rashad has his bow tie line stuff, and we still didn't happen. And then we just executed Rashad, so he has bow ties now, where he has a collection and everything, and so doing some other stuff. But also with Signature, he wrote a book. And so, the wife being the writer and everything, and just hearing the words and putting it into a book. So I'm just going to read the beginning so everybody can see what we're talking about. So, introduction. Have you ever wondered why names matter or even what's in a name? A name has value, significant meaning, and defines who you are. When you meet people, the first thing they often ask for is your name. This inquiry invites you into the conversation and then builds upon so many other discoveries. You can communicate your name orally and in writing. A written representation of your name is through a signature. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a signature is defined as something that serves to set apart or identify. It is a characteristic mark. A signature is simply your name written in your unique way to identify your authenticity. Your signature indicates a seal of acceptance, approval, acknowledgement, ownership, and responsibility. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. The name given to individuals has historically shown significance or purpose. God placed significance and meaning on names even in the beginning with Adam. Adam's name was given to him by God, and its meaning is man. From this naming ceremony, God gave Adam dominion to every animal and creature in the earth. The names that were given to individuals in the Bible told a story of why or how they were born. When an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, he came with a message about the meaning of the name Jesus. Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save people from their sins. For so long, I was challenged by my past and the mistakes I encountered. I let the nightmares of my past exclude me from my future. With that being said, I had lost hope in my name. I could not tell you my purpose and avoided how I was born or raised. I had thought that my daunting past counseled my future. I thought my name ended conversations and closed the doors to opportunities. I began to lose sight of my destiny and neglected my worth. I counted myself out of the race called Endure Until the End and let the people on the sideline cheer me on. Who is William Z. Green? Who am I to become? Why is it so hard to walk in my destiny and purpose? What's the significance of my name? As I toiled with these questions, my failing thoughts caught me and pushed me to explore more about my name. In my research, I discovered William meant determined protector, strong-willed warrior, king. At this moment, I realized that my past challenges and struggles were designed to try and hinder me from becoming the determined protector, strong-willed warrior, and king. After discovering who I am, I began to live up to my name and make sure I leave a legacy for my children and generations to come. While reading Signature, my hope is that you will discover who you are, understand the significance of your worth, and take hold of the power that is invested in you. Signature provides you with 30 days of inspirational quotes and space to journal your thoughts, helping to release you from your past. No longer will you be bound by the chains of the past that impede you from moving towards your destiny. Free your mind, tear down the walls, and open up your heart. Allow God to use you for what you were chosen to fulfill. Your name establishes the premise for your purpose. Your signature seals it and acknowledges that you own your destiny. Signed, William Z. Green Sr. Give it up for Signature! Start the conversation, not end it. Available now on Amazon. If you don't know, now you know. Yes, so I'm excited. Listen, before we end, tell me really quick where people can find you. Jared Penn.
So you can find me online. My website is Halo Music, HAELO music.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Jaron Halo Penn. And I look forward to hearing from you.
Rashad.
All forms of social media, Rashad Bowtie Mills, RashadMills.com.
All social media, Mr. Possible DMV, Instagram and Twitter. Facebook, you can find me, Sherman Nelson Jr.
And me, I'm Extreme Makeover.
That's right. Don't forget October 20th. You can find
20th.
all of us at the Rondo Hotel Preserve from 9 to 4. And I am Taskeka L. Green. You can find me Taskeka Green to Everything There's a Season, www.2eseasons.com. We are here every second Saturday from 3 to 4, turning dreams into reality. I can't wait to hear your testimony from today's show. Be blessed and have a purposeful, productive, and fruitful month. Till we meet again. And we're out.
Everything that's in